good? Tonight, a 22-year-old son, husband, officer, and friend was killed because he did what we asked him to do. Countless officers lined the halls of this hallway after carrying him in and grieve for their brother, while praying with everything they have for the other. I am struggling to find the words to express the tragedy we are enduring. We're mourning and we're angry. The NYPD, New York City, all of us. As I stand here in Harlem Hospital tonight, a New York City police officer has lost his life, murdered, and another one is fighting for his life to survive. The pain their families are experiencing is not something anyone can put into words. The 3 officers who arrived at that scene were doing their job. They came to answer a call for service, what countless officers do every single day. They were listening to a mother who called needing help for her son. And as the officers were compassionately trying to provide aid to a 47-year-old man, he suddenly, without warning, opened fire on them. In a moment, a young 22-year-old life was ended, and another forever altered. Our department is hurting. Our city is hurting. It is beyond comprehension. I am not sure what words, if any, will carry the weight of this moment and what we are feeling. We have 4 times this month rushed to the scene of NYPD officers shot by violent criminals in possession of deadly, illegal guns. 4 officers, 5 officers shot. 1 fighting for his life in 4 incidents. And now tonight, 1 is dead. Our detectives will work to piece this together, but as they do that, every NYPD officer will once again place a black mourning band across their shield. I ask you to please pray for them. We had the privilege to pray with this family. I ask you to pray for them too. Please pray for our officer that lies in his hospital bed fighting for his life. And every single day appreciate the valor and sacrifice of the men and women of the NYPD. I'll ask Mayor Adams if he wants to say a few words.
Normally, when we do briefings like this, it's just the police officials who stand at this podium. I did not want that tonight. I wanted everyone to be in this same room. I wanted everyone to be here to understand. It is our city against the killers. It is our city against the killers. This was just not an attack on 3 brave officers. This was an attack on the city of New York. It is an attack on the children and families of this city. And we are not going to win this battle by dividing lines between us. We must save this city together. That is what we must do. An 11-month-old baby was shot just a few days ago. 5 officers were shot in this city. The unification of fighting this battle goes beyond the debate and rhetoric. It is time for us to save our city. And we are going to need everyone on the same page to accomplish this task. And let me be clear, there are no gun manufacturers in New York City. We don't make guns here. How are we removing thousands of guns off the street and they still find their way into New York City? In the hands of people who are killers, constantly carving highways of death, destroying our communities. We need Washington to join us and act now to stop the flow of guns in New York City and cities like New York. We're all witnesses. We have witnessed these murders, and we have witnessed the failure on a federal level to stop the flow of guns to this city. We are not going to live under the gun of dangerous people in New York City. We're going to honor the memory of this officer lost to gun violence by standing united against these killers and those who are arming them. They are co-conspirators to the violence that we are witnessing in New York City. No one will divide this city with their violence. In fact, they're going to unite us to come together and end this. We're going to find these guns, and we're going to find those who carry them and use them. We are committed to ending this violence. My heart goes out to these families who are experiencing such a traumatic experience. I go back to the days of thinking of Robert Venable, my close colleague who died in the line of duty. And I remember my mother calling because she was unsure if it was one of her sons who was the victim of that shooting. And even after she heard it was not Bernard or Eric, she still had to hold her breath because she knew one of our brother officers was slain. And right now, every mother in this city feels the loss that this family is experiencing. We must commit ourselves to stop the debate and the dialogue and come together and realize a gun on our street is a threat to our safety. And we must do everything possible to remove that gun. And Commissioner, I thank you. I know how painful this is for you right now. And I thank these men and women who wore that uniform, wear the uniform that I wore. And countless number of times we had to go to hospitals and visit loved ones. We had to knock on doors and tell family members they lost their family to gun violence. And now you have to do it with one of your own. But I'm going to ask you something. No matter how painful this moment is, don't give up on these people in this city. Don't give up. Don't feel as though that they don't want you to do your job. Twitter and Instagram and social media, they're not the people you're protecting. They want you here to do your job. No matter who's the mayor, no matter who's the governor, no matter who's the elected official, you have done your job, and let's continue to do so. Let's protect the people of this city and not allow anger to get in our way of protecting those who are living with this violence every day. We are going to protect our city. That's our promise and commitment. It's a painful moment for us. Every time the commissioner and I had to visit a hospital, from January 1st, seeing an officer shot in the head, seeing an officer shot in the leg on Staten Island, responding to a domestic dispute. It's a painful moment.
You know, as we ran into this hospital today, you don't know what to expect, and There were hundreds of police officers running down the street, dropping their cars on the corner, running to this hospital. They were running to this hospital because they just carried two brothers out of a hallway into this hospital to try to save their lives. Hundreds and hundreds of police officers are standing here today because their hearts tell them they have to be here because they feel like they're alone. We got to end that here today. Our hearts are broken. We're in shock. Our knees are buckling. And we're angry because we've been here before. We're angry because we saw it coming. We're angry because we said it was going to happen and it happened again. So tonight, you know, these police officers aren't going to sleep. They're going to be out in the street. They're going to do what they need to do. The ones that go home are going to put their heads on their pillow and they're not going to sleep. And they're going to cry. Well, it's time the city cried with us, and we know they are. But you know what? We stand shoulder to shoulder by the tens of thousands to shoulder our brother. We carried our brother here. We'll shoulder him out this evening. We'll stand in the hallway and we'll pray for a family that's hoping their son, their husband, they come home. But it can't be just us. Yes, we will stand patch to patch and bury our brother. We will bow our heads in sadness. But we need you too. The streets can't just be full of New York City police officers at this funeral. The public has to come. The public has to send a message to anyone that dares to harm a New York City police officer. Not here, not now, not today, not to us. We're humbly asking you to come out and help us. Then when this is over, yes, a conversation, a real conversation. Not like our heads are on backwards and we don't know what's going on. We need help. They need help. We need help. It's time to do it now. We're all looking to do it. Give us that help so we can help stop babies from being shot, stop the violence. The guns that are coming in, well, help us take them out of their belts so they never dare pull it again. You know what I'm saying? We all know what we need. It's right in front of us. So now we're going to unite. And we're going to carry a New York City police officer out of this hospital, and we're going to salute the best we can. We're going to do the best we can, and we're going to line the church in front of that church, synagogue, mosque, and do the best we can. But after that, conversation that's real. Laws that are real. Support that's real, not press conferences. Let's get voting and give us what we need.
Good evening. It's just a horrific day for the New York City and the NYPD, you know, and I just want to, you know, pray for the officer who's lost his life, the officer who's fighting for his life, and for the two families, you know, please, and for these officers who are out there doing the job every day. So I'm just going to walk you through the investigation. At 6:15 this evening, at 119 West 135th Street, apartment 1D, police officers from the 3-2 precinct arrived to a 911 call of a family dispute. The 911 caller was a female who stated that she was disputing with her son. She mentioned no injuries and no weapons. Upon entering the apartment, the officers were met by that female caller and her son. After a brief conversation, the officers were informed that her other son, whom she was disputing with, was in the back bedroom. This apartment is an open one-bedroom apartment. As you walk in, there is a living room, a kitchen, and a 30-foot long hallway that has a closet, a bathroom, and at the end, the bedroom. One officer remained with the two family members while two other officers go to the back bedroom. This hallway is very tight and narrow. As our first officers approach the bedroom, the door swings open and numerous shots are fired, striking both officers, one fatally, and one is here in Harlem Hospital in critical condition. As the perpetrators attempt to exit, he is confronted by our third officer, who fires 2 rounds, striking him in the right arm and head. Our perpetrator is LaShawn McNeil. He's a male, 47 years old. He has 1 prior arrest in New York City for a felony conviction of narcotics in 2003, in which he is on probation for. He has 4 arrests outside of New York City, 1 in South Carolina for an unlawful possession of a weapon in 1998, 1 for an assault on a police officer in Pennsylvania in 2002, a felony drug in 2003, and a misdemeanor narcotics in 2003 in Pennsylvania. Recovered at that scene is a Glock 45 high-capacity magazine, which holds up to 40 additional rounds. This weapon right here. That gun was stolen from Baltimore in 2017. We are working with our Joint Firearms Task Force and the local ATF to further trace this gun. This is a still active crime scene and the investigation is continuing. We are working through why this brutal, senseless, and ambush of 2 of our police officers occurred. We're asking anyone in the community who has information to reach out to the 32nd Detective Squad or Crime Stoppers. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to the police commissioner for some final words.
Say to my NYPD, our NYPD, your NYPD, thank you for what you do and what you face. This city appreciates it. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. You are not alone. I support you in what you do. We are not going to answer your questions. We hope our prayers are answered. Good night.